All right, so you were really low on Wemby at one point, and it seemed like the season
Okay,
started
I'm
up.
not. Hold on. See, you can't start the show off with lies. I thought that folks putting his floor at Akeem Olajuwon was maybe going to be a little too much pressure on the 19-year-old French kid. I was never low on Wemby. I just wasn't as astronomically high as others. Now go ahead.
One might argue that's kind of low, but
Well,
so
in reference, sure. In comparison to others, sure. Go ahead.
yeah, so you went to the game last night, and he did really poorly. Did seeing him in person and put up that performance give you a different type of perspective on him, or are you still at the same?
Well, listen, he had by a rookie standards, a legendary performance 1 week ago today. The game he had against Phoenix, outplaying KD, going 38-10, being a monster defensively, made, I think, all of us stop and be like, oh my God, like, what is this guy not going to be eventually? What is he right now? Because, and Wilds made this point, they played Durant in back-to-back games, and you kind of saw in the first game, he was a little shaky in the first half, and then by the second half had figured some things out. And then when they played him again a couple days later, all of a sudden, he's the best player on the court. And it's like, is he learning in real time, like artificial intelligence and like, all the, like, oh, okay, so this is how you play Kevin Durant when I get him again. And people were really, I mean, Tom Haberstroh, who I have a lot of respect for, was talking about how there was great value on him to be the NBA's MVP this year at like 45-1. So we all did get maybe a little ahead of ourselves. We did a game on the show where I put up would you rather have, not for the future, but for this season. And the names Wemby and we did Jaylen Brown. We did Kevin Durant was one of them. We didn't do Tatum. I tried to do guys that I thought, I'm trying to think of.
Did you do LeBron or no?
We didn't do LeBron. We did Kawhi. And but it was like that caliber of player. We did. I'm trying to think of everyone that Jimmy Butler. You know what I mean? We did like guys in that 7 to 25 range in the league. And I mean, Brew took him over KD after that game. It's like, how could you not? Okay, so since then he and the Spurs have not been good at all. They haven't won. Last night he came out firing. He didn't hit his early shots, and then he seemed to lose a bit of confidence. So here are my big takeaways from watching him on every single possession. He goes 7, 8 possession stretches without touching the ball. Bill Simmons made this point prior to yesterday, and he's 1,000% right. The Spurs desperately need a point guard. They have Jeremy Sohan, who's a small forward running point for them. No one knows how to get Wemby the basketball, and that's a little frustrating. The other thing that is true is this. He does, right now, despite his size, he just has no inside offensive game whatsoever, other than rim runs and putbacks. Like, you can't give him the ball and just have him go to work. And we know he can't lean on people. But what I found so interesting watching him, at least yesterday, is maybe because he missed those first few shots, when he did get the ball on the perimeter, he seemed to be trying to go by people when it felt like the whole idea of why he's going to be so transcendent is he can just shoot over everyone. And he either was hesitant to last night or it just didn't have it. And I don't want to overreact to one night, but what it definitely did do was took him out of the game a bit defensively. He didn't make an impact defensively that one could see in that game, and offensively he was a negative. Now you remind yourself, He's 19 years old, and that was his 8th career NBA game. But for people that were arguing, should the Spurs have been a little more aggressive this offseason, I didn't think they should, because you don't want to try to microwave this. But for his development, them having an actual adult point guard, I think could be incredibly useful. Like a guy like a Mike Conley, or it doesn't have to be a great player, just someone that can come in and orchestrate things. Because, I mean, Doug McDermott's out there running and gunning. Sohan is trying to play out of position. I mean, the Spurs are a bad, bad team. So it was fascinating to watch. The most stunning moment of the night, honestly, because when you're watching the game, because of like guys at different depths and perspective or whatever, you can tell who the tallest guy is, but you don't really have the exact right perspective on it. The most stunning moment was the national anthem. I know it sounds ridiculous, but it's because all the guys are lined up next to each other. And Wemby looked make-believe. He looked like how one of like NBA guys look when they go to like see people at a school and they take a picture with the administration. It's like, oh, there's Kevin Durant, and then there's regular people.
Modern day
but he was standing next to. Well, yeah, I mean, it's really, that part was remarkable. He had a really rough game, but listen, I picked Scoot Henderson for Rookie of the Year, and we haven't talked much about him. And the reason we haven't talked much about him is because he hasn't got it going. Scoot so far this year is, I'll give you his numbers exactly. He's only played 5 games because he got hurt. He's given you 8 points, 4.5 assists on 35% from the field and 9% from 3. So it's, listen,
long season.
Tough life for long season, tough early on for rookies. There have been some rookies. Derek Lively, for the Mavs has been really good. There have been some. Obviously the Thunder have 2 excellent rookies, Case and Wallace, and then Chet, who's like a rookie because he didn't play last year, but was the previous year's draft class. Chet's been excellent. Now, Chet is a guy I was very down on, who thus far has been excellent, and so we'll see. Hey, thanks for watching. Hit the subscribe button to get more from the show, and make sure to click the bell to get notified every time new content drops. Check out full episodes of What's Right wherever you get your podcasts, or just click the link in the description below.